Hi everybody, this is Ross here at Church Windows with today's webinar. I have Kellyanne with me to help answer questions throughout. Today's webinar we're going to be talking about options after you enter in your attendance. We're going to be dealing mainly with the attendance entry screen, and then at the end we're going to do a little bit on the transfer attendance screen. So let's get started. So after you enter in attendance on a particular date, it's not set in stone that what is entered has to stay there. If you realize you make a mistake of any kind, or you need to edit or copy it to a different date, you can always go back and do that. All I have to do is just open up attendance entry, find the particular event, so you can go to the drop down and either type it in or scroll through and find it. In this case, I'm going to just scroll through and find the Sunday AM worship. And then to the right, you put in the date that you want to either make changes to or look at. And with that one, you can either click it on the drop down and use the arrow key buttons to select your particular attendance date, or you can type in the date that if you know what it is. And you know when dates have attendance entered on it when the text itself is green. So if I go back, you can see here all the Sundays are bolded with a green text that tells me that the attendance has been entered on that date. So I'm going to just deal with January 15th. So you select that, and what it does is it fills in the grid with all the attendance that you had entered in previously. You can see that it has all the present and communion things checked, what you did before. And so if you need to, you can go back and enter in more people or unmarked people if you realize you need to make changes for a particular date. You can edit the amount received, or the amount collected, or the amount of people present, and then when you close out of this window, it will save that for you automatically. One of the other options we have is the copy function, which is up here in the top right. This is used for a couple different reasons. One is if you accidentally entered in all this attendance onto the wrong event or the wrong date, for example, we can copy everything that you've entered and move it to that new date or event. You can also use it to, say you have a pretty stable group of attendance, you can just copy the same attendance from one Sunday to the next, and then after you copy it, you can make your couple of changes of who was present and who wasn't on that new date. So to do that, I'll click copy, and then the new window will open. You can see here at the top, it's letting you know what you're copying from. So we're going to be copying the attendance from Sunday AM worship on the 15th of January to a new event. Say it wasn't supposed to be Sunday AM worship, it was supposed to be the evening worship on that day. So you'd click on the drop down and select the new item. So in that case, I will go up to evening worship and select it. Then you can also select the date. So this is where you could put in the next Sunday, or if it's that same day, it was just a wrong event, you would put in that date. So I'm just going to put in one, 15, 17. So I put in the 15th, just the same date. And then below, you have a couple of options. The copy number of persons present, copy amount given, and copy comments are checked by default, since that's going to copy, so it's going to copy that information over as well. The last one down here is the delete attendance for the first group after it is copied over. So you would leave that unchecked if you're just copying attendance from Sunday to Sunday, or from event to event. You leave that unchecked for that. But if you accidentally entered in the attendance on the wrong date or on the wrong event or the wrong group, that sort of thing, you'll want to make sure that is checked. Because what that will do is that will make it so you don't have to go through and empty all the attendance from the previous event. So then from there, all you do is just click copy after we check that. And then that screen closes, and then it goes to that particular event. You can see it says evening worship now on the 15th, which is what we told it to do. But now if we go back to the Sunday AM worship and look back on the drop down, you can see here the 15th is no longer bolded and no longer green, because it no longer has any attendance entered on it because we deleted it. So we select it, and then you can see back on the 15th there's now no people marked present. The persons present and the amount collected is all not there as well. And say maybe you copy something incorrectly, or and you entered in attendance that just shouldn't have been entered at all. We also have the delete option, which is relatively straightforward. So let me open up a date that has some attendance on it. I can show you how that works. So we have our group and our date selected, and now we need to delete all the attendance that was entered on this date. Right below the copy button is the delete button. All we need to do is just click that. It's going to ask, do you want to delete all the attendance for that day for that particular event, and it will delete the attendance, and it will delete the persons present, the comments, the uncollected, all of that. So none of that information is there anymore. It's just completely cleared out, and then you can re-enter it or whatever you need to do after that. Also from this screen is the print option. Open up that. And how the print option works from this screen is you can print reports, labels, or the attendance summary by event report from this screen, and the people that show up on the report when you print it, whether it be labels or what have you, are going to be all the people who are marked present in the grid below. So, like for example, if you see down here, Nina, Jen, Richard, Karen are all marked present. So when I print the report, they will all show up. But right below them, Bill Bell and Donna Bell don't have anything checked. So when we print the report here in a second, they will not show up. So if I click print and then just reports directory export, it will bring up kind of like a smaller version of the reports screen. It already has all the criteria. That's all we're doing now is we're just picking the particular layout. So I'm just going to leave it with basic, the basic column report, and then you click print, and then you have your report from there. It will generate the print preview. Let's see, did it open up behind the screen? Okay, it's still working on it, it looks like. Okay. Alright. Well, while we wait on that preview to load, you also have the labels you can print from, and you can also email the people in the list as well. This would be the same thing. You have all the people that were selected, and looks like the print preview didn't open. But yeah, you have all the you have all the people that were selected, and they will show up on the reports or the labels or the emails. And then you also have the summary by event report. So if you click on that, and when you do that, the attendance summary by event groups classes report opens up, and it's automatically filled out to the particular date that you entered attendance for, and the only thing that's checked is that particular event. And then you can click print, and it generates the report for that day there. And then, here, let me clear those. And that is really what I was going to show you here on the attendance entry screen. The last thing I'm going to show you involves more corrections and things like that for attendance, but it's on an individual level instead of an event level, and that's the transfer screen. So let me close out of this. And transfer attendance can be found by clicking on attendance here at the top of the screen, and then click on the transfer button right below. And then when you open up that, it will bring up the transfer attendance window. It defaults to this entire year's date range. You can put in a different date range that you want. So you need to correct a couple years worth of attendance for a person. You can. This is most of the time this is used if you've been recording attendance just to the wrong person entirely, whether it be because there's a duplicate version of a person, or attendance was attributed to the, say the son when it should have been to the father, or a couple people had some similar names, that sort of thing. But like I said, it defaults to the current date range. But if you want to put in a bigger date range, you can just type it in just like normal, and then once you put in your date range, you have to make sure you click this apply dates button. Once you put in a different date range, it should turn to red and let you know, hey, apply dates. So you click that, and it reloads, and it now should show us attendance for this entire 3-year date range. On the left, the from attendee is where you will type in the name of the person you want to transfer the attendance from. So I'm going to do that. So in our data, we have a person named Eric Bernard and Evan Bernard. Similar names. It can sometimes get mixed up. I'm going to transfer attendance from Evan Bernard to Eric Bernard. So I select Evan from the drop-down on the left, and it will show me all the attendance that he has been marked for on the left here. And then the present and excuse column will either have a P or an E on it to let you know if they were marked present for that day or excused. And then the only people that will show up on the left, it's not going to show you your whole database. It's only going to show people who have actually had attendance entered in for that particular day, or for that particular date range. So if you see somebody if you don't see somebody on this side, that's because that particular record doesn't have any attendance on it. So I'm going to select Evan, and then I'm going to transfer it to Eric Bernard. And then it's going to show you all the attendance that he has had over the years. So if you scroll through, you can see the latest date is 2016, but for Evan it's 2017. So if I wanted to transfer all the attendance from Evan Bernard to Eric Bernard that he was marked for in 2017, I can basically click the unselect all button down here in the bottom left, and then just check the dates I want to transfer over. So I'm just going to check all the 2017 dates. And then when I click transfer selected, it's going to ask me, are you sure you want to transfer the attendance to Eric? I say yes. It will do it for me. And now if I scroll down to the bottom of Evan's attendance, you now see that he does not have anything listed for 2017. But if I go to Eric and scroll down to the bottom, you can see the 2017 dates are now transferred to him. And then that is really all I have for you guys today. Do you guys have any questions? Suzanne asked a question about the attendance worksheet. How do you make extra lines to write in for visitors on the attendance worksheet? All right, since we don't have any other questions coming in about the actual topic, that's fine. Let me get to that attendance worksheet real quick. At the bottom left, if you're on the last couple of versions, there should be a checkbox down here where it says blank lines at the end in the bottom left here. If you have that checked, let me test it real quick, and then click print for a particular event. Yeah, what should happen is you should get your blank lines starting to show up down here. So you have all the different other blank lines. If you're not seeing that option, you may be on an older version. So I'd make sure you're on 19 and then update to 20 when that comes out. And I hope that helps. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions popping in. I'll give you guys okay, so I had a question come in from Mary. She says, we have a person who is listed twice as a visitor. How can I transfer attendance from one visitor to another before deleting the second visitor? So essentially, the first thing you need to do is figure out which one you want to be the main visitor. And if they have the same name and they're both in the visitor database, it can be kind of hard to differentiate them. What I would do, accidentally opening up the scheduler here. So what I would do is put like an asterisk, or like in the name and the last name field, put in like DNU for do not use, or an asterisk or something, just so you know I don't want to deal with this particular version. DNU just stands for do not use, shorthand I like. But once you have that entered on the record that you don't want, you can then go into attendance and transfer, and then the from attendee, you would select the one that says DNU or has the asterisk on it, and then the to attendee, you would select the other version. other visitor version of them that is the correct one. That's how I would handle that. And then after that, you can go in and either delete or terminate the one that you put in the DNU on. Just basically you need something to be able to differentiate which is the main one and which isn't. And hope that helps. Yeah, and Mary, the duplicate issue, while it's hard to completely get rid of it, the upcoming version 20 does have something built into it that if you put in if you enter in a new person with it who has the exact same name as a person that's already in the database, it's going to ask you, hey, is this person the same person? And if it is, that's basically kind of like a safeguard to be like, oh, this person has already been entered into the database. Now, obviously, people like John Smith and stuff like that, there will be multiple. There could easily be multiple John Smiths and things like that. And then with that in mind, you can just ignore the warning and continue to enter in the person. But there will be that little bit of fail-safe to help prevent duplicates from happening as much, at least. So hopefully that helps in the future. Okay, any other questions? I have some people you change to another class when you print the attendance worksheet, their name still shows up on the worksheet, on the old one. All right, so I'm showing you version 20. So the screens are a little bit different, but I would go into the assign groups, classes, skills, interests screen if they're still showing up on the old one, and make sure that make sure that they're either not listed at all on the grid, or if they are, make sure they have an end date that is before like today's date, essentially. And if both of those things are, like if they're not showing up on the grid at all for that particular group and they're still printing, run a database maintenance and try again. And if that doesn't work, give us a call because there might be something else going on. But hopefully that fixes that issue, Suzanne. Yep. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions coming in. This webinar has been recorded and it will be put up on the website by the end of the week. And version 20, which is what I did this on, should be out to you guys within the next few weeks. At least we're finishing up testing here soon, and then we'll be able to get it out to you guys. So it should be soon. If you do have any other questions, you can always give us a call or email us at support@churchwindows.com. Thanks. Bye.